After the massive despondency that beset Arsenal and Liverpool fans last week, this week was a little bit of a reprieve. Liverpool and Arsenal both kept up their title charge by winning two very crucial games against two very tricky opponents. Arsenal faced Wolves this weekend and went out 2-0 winners away from home, and so did Liverpool with a 3-1 victory away at Fulham. Now, Manchester City were consumed with the small task of getting past Chelsea in the FA Cup win that they managed to do so, and in a game where they looked a little leggy, a little tired after their exertions against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Understandably, it was going to be a very tough showing for them against the Chelsea side that had their tails up and were hoping to cause an upset despite not doing very well at Wembley in recent times. What's up, guys? It's your boy Izzy. And as always, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that like and the subscribe button to let YouTube and everybody else know that you're enjoying the content. Now, as an Arsenal fan, it was very tough to see us lose to Villa and, of course, lose to Bayern Munich. But it was a very good thing to see Arsenal actually back up some of the words that some of the players had spoken after the Bayern Munich loss. For example, Declan Rice was very good in this game. Watching this title race, as always, is very tough because Arsenal is the team that either gives and keeps on giving if you are on the positive and even on the negative side. Most people have written off a lot of the chances of anybody else winning the title, myself included, because Manchester City are a very strong outfit. They are one of, honestly, the best teams that anyone has ever seen. The way they manage to go after teams, especially when they're chasing from behind, and almost have this inevitable way that they come out on top. It's very mesmerizing to watch, and it can also be very disheartening to watch when you know that you have such a strong team with a very proven track record of being able to come back from deficits, such as what we've seen them do to Liverpool before and what we saw them do to Arsenal last season. So these games were very important for them to win. And from what I gather and from what I managed to see in the Arsenal game, Arsenal did hold a very decent performance against Wolves, a game that was extremely tricky. And Wolverhampton were not aided by the fact that they had a ton of injuries going into this game. And the team that was actually put out by Gary O'Neill, who most people are openly admitting should be the manager of the season for what he's been able to accomplish and some of the great things he's been able to do at Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's astonishing that he was able to put out that team and still have the showing that he did. And most of his post-match comments beyond that game spoke to that fact. Gary O'Neill is a wonderful manager, and the fact that Bournemouth had dispensed of him towards the end of last season compared to this season with Iraola, and they are doing well with Iraola, but Gary O'Neill has gone on to prove that he is a very, very worthy manager. And his tactical acumen is always proved week in, week out. And when you think about the fact that Lopetegui had walked away from the position because he didn't have the tools that he thought he needed to go into the season, and Gary O'Neill, who had a very, very short preseason, which was probably a couple of weeks, if at most, was able to come in and take charge of a team. And that shows you that despite not having the tools that he was supposed to have and the time that it takes to bond with a team, he was able to make them coalesce, and he was able to turn them into a team that was able to not only survive this Premiership season, but to also build upon what they wanted him to do at the start of the season, which was achieve safety and to also try and challenge for European positions. So going into this game, they didn't have as many players as they would have wanted to, and they gave a very brave face against an Arsenal side that was despondent after their loss against Bayern Munich, but one that needed to keep up the challenge, at least keep Manchester City honest until the end of the season. So it was a 2-0 victory, goals from Odegaard and from Trossard. Leo Trossard is one of the best players that you want to come in at this point of the season. Trossard is one of those people who will always give you at least a 7 out of 10 in most of the games that he plays. Now, his efficacy can be questioned whenever he starts a game. Sometimes he's not the most lethal when he starts a game, but in this situation, he was able to score Arsenal's first goal. It was very, very crucial for them to score that first goal. goal, because you had the feeling that if Arsenal would have conceded against Wolves, the same demons would descend upon the squad and it would become a very tough game, because Wolves did not give much away as far as chances in this game. And we saw that because Arsenal's second goal came in towards the end of the game when Odegaard smartly was able to put the ball past Jose Sarr in a very tight situation. So overall, it was a good result for Arsenal, one that keeps them ticking before that Chelsea game that's going to take place tomorrow. That's going to be another very crucial game. And in all honesty, this is going to be a very crucial week for Arsenal. If they are able to get past Chelsea tomorrow, and if they're able to get past the other people from North on London, then maybe this title charge might be a real thing. But the problem with Arsenal is that these fixtures are extremely tough. And these are two sides that are not only motivated by league position to get past Arsenal, but also motivated by the fact that they are Arsenal's eternal rivals. Now, we all know that Tottenham would love nothing more than to ruin Arsenal's title challenge and as well also enhance their top four challenge. But they are 6 points behind Aston Villa, so they need the points. And as far as Chelsea, they are coming off of a soul-sapping loss against Manchester City where they did perform very well, and in some eyes, they really should have won that game. They had more than enough chances. Nicholas Jackson, unfortunately, does not seem to be the guy that will bring Chelsea the glory that they want up front, because he missed a host of chances, some of which that he really should have taken advantage of. Some gilt-edge opportunities, especially the one where he headed straight at Ortega, who did very well in the goal. And all you can ask for him is to be composed in a situation like that. But Nicholas Jackson really has to look in the mirror and to see what he is not doing well in front of goal, because he seems to get himself into a lot of good positions, but he just does not execute. And whenever he's one-on-one with a goalkeeper, you don't get the feeling as though he's going to score. But that's as far as Arsenal are concerned. The other title challenges are Liverpool, and they were able to win 3-1 away at Fulham. And this game was a total domination from Liverpool. Set aside from the last maybe 10 to 15 minutes of the first half, Liverpool absolutely dominated this game. The lazy argument would be to accuse Fulham of being on the beach already because they are home and hosed. They're not really going to challenge for the top half of the table in as far as European competition, and they're in no danger of being relegated. So this game is probably a bonus, and it kind of showed because Fulham did not seem to have that extra leg of motivation as far as when we saw them face Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, when they had two very good showings, but unfortunately went out to the same Liverpool side. Liverpool put behind their demons as far as their profligacy. They were able to execute a fair amount of chances. And in this game, Jurgen Klopp actually did take a gamble. He did not have Salah in the first team. He did not have Nunez, and he entrusted some players such as Jota and Gakpo into the first team, and they delivered. Gravenbach was also very good in this game, and he was rewarded with a wonderful goal. And it came at a very crucial time in the game. Fulham had equalized. It was 1-1. It was just after halftime, and Liverpool needed to take control of the game because they were pretty much in control of it for most of the first half until they allowed Fulham back into the game. Fulham, beyond that, did not really cause Liverpool too many problems, and pretty much towards the end of the game, it seemed more of a passing game for Liverpool. They absolutely allowed Fulham no chances at their goal. And the only sniff that Fulham possibly had towards the end of the game were a few chances that didn't really bother Alisson in the Liverpool goal. So overall, this leaves Liverpool in a good position. I think that they will get past Everton. I think the Arsenal game is a lot more dicey against Chelsea because Chelsea are a team that, depending on the day, can show up and they can do very well in the game. But I'm sorry to say this, the Merseyside derby is usually just a Liverpool win. It is one of the most unrivaled derbies in recent times because it always seems as though Liverpool win, and Liverpool always win big. There's a part of me that would definitely want Everton to stand up in this game, but I also did feel a lot of happiness watching Liverpool win this weekend. And while I am 100% not a Liverpool fan, it felt good to see both sides keep Manchester City honest towards the end of the season. Arsenal have been a team that we have seen crumble many times before, and it's still quite possible to see them not do as well towards the end. But in this showing, we will be able to see at least two sides try and go all the way towards the end to try and make sure that Manchester City are not going to be handed this title on the silver platter, but at least to try and make sure that not only are the audiences entertained, but also Manchester City are kept honest towards the end of the season. But that's all I thought so far for this weekend, guys. It was a good weekend for the challenges, a relatively good weekend for Manchester City as well. They proceeded to the FA Cup final, despite the fact that Chelsea should have won that game. Manchester City looked tired, and they did not look their normal attacking lethal self. We should be able to see them get back to the City that we know against Brighton. That is going to be a very tough game that comes in on Thursday. I think that this might be one of the few games that the other two challenges would think that Manchester City might drop points in, but Brighton have not been their normal self themselves this season. We've only seen them lose a handful of matches at home, and most recently to Arsenal. It wouldn't be surprising to see Manchester City emerge as winners in this, because they now have a few days to rest up and to try and recuperate themselves after the loss against Real Madrid and progressing in the FA Cup against Chelsea. But anyway, guys, it's your boy Izzy. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. It was yet another wonderful weekend that we saw Liverpool and Arsenal keep up their title challenge. And until the next review, guys, peace.